So you just picked up a beater, under $1,500 probably, maybe even under $1,000 if you're a lucky person. And the brakes put the fear of God in you. Well, you can either take it to a shop or have them diagnose it for every little thing that's probably wrong with it that would shock you and make your mom cry. But today I'm going to show you how to do a quick little pad swap on a car. This is a 2006 Chevy Malibu. It has been ridden hard and put away wet. It's very rusty because we live in the rust belt. We're going to get these wheels peeled off. It's got it jacked up right now. I'm going to show you what you're looking at underneath here and any little tips or tricks I can give you for doing a cheap, easy brake job on these things. So this has 19 millimeter. This has a 19 millimeter lug nut, and you'll see just like every other automaker of today, they put this horrible candy coating on these things. It's not real metal. It's not a real stud. It's just this little filler on the outside. It makes it, you know, old cars, they tend to swell. They get this galvanic corrosion in between, and they puff up, and none of them ever fit right. So you end up using like a 7/8 or some other odd size for these. So, you know, be strong, find what fits best, and send her on home. You don't need an impact gun to do this either. I just happen to have one. You can do it with just a 1/2 inch, you know, lug wrench while it's sitting on the ground. This is up in the air right now, you know, just an inch or two. So we're gonna get this thing. We're gonna give it the old kung fu hustle, maybe. Yeah. All you ever want to do is really kick those real nice and good. You're going to want to give these a nice little spray down with, you know, some PB Blaster or canola oil or whatever you got around. Give those just a 1/2 second just to sit. Think about what they've done wrong to you before you potentially break 2 of them off. And now you're going to grab your favorite ratchet or one that you have. It's extendable, helps with leverage and stuff. These are super cheap. I think I paid 20 bucks for it or something. And I would imagine these are metric up here. 15, looking like the winner. And you're gonna wanna use as short of a socket as you can manage and with 6 points, because you don't wanna round these bad boys off. Otherwise you'll have a very sad and bad day, and we don't like sad and bad days. Immediately. And be prepared to use just about any size to get these off on whatever, because chances are they are old and rounded out, and you'll need to make something work. That's a 9/16 there. Don't be afraid to hammer something on the end of it either to get enough, you know, motion. But we get lucky. And there we go. Little tiny thing. Kind of surprising how small that is. Don't be afraid to strike your socket on something solid to try to get your bolt out of the back of it. You see, I got a little punch right here. Socket. And you'll firmly grasp it in your hand like so. Boom. Just like that. Oh man, that fits bad. I mean, it's supposed to be a 15, but it just spins right off of it. Now let's try that again real quick. That is the original 15 that you're supposed to use. That one went this time. Last time it rounded it out, but you never really know till you start going on it. So now you're going to take your favorite prying implement, whatever you got handy, you know, wrench, grandma's walker. I have this tiny little crowbar. Isn't that cute? I'm going to use this, and I'm going to get right in between here. I'm going to pry this away. Probably really seized down there, or chunky or gross, because no one's done these since, you know, the Obama years or something. The pads on here are actually not the worst I've seen, but you can see they've obviously got some problems. See how weirdly they've kind of worn into this ridge here, and they're stuck in there. Same goes for the other side. And what happens is, with all of these cheap cars nowadays, cheap parts, these slides over time just become full of dust and dirt and debris. And really, that's mostly what goes wrong with these cars, is the slides get worn out or rusty or bad from sitting or just general use. It doesn't take much to get them bad. So that's really what our whole problem is here on this car, is bad old slides, because nothing's gonna move on these. Another little tech tip for you is that your tire makes an incredibly good seat to sit on while you're doing this type of work. So we're going to get into these actual caliper mounts here, the brackets. Because we're doing this on the cheap, we didn't get new ones. We're reusing the old ones. So chances are they're not going to fit that well, just because, you know, metal tends to swell and do all sorts of sad stuff when it sits up here, and new parts never fit at all. That's just how it is. So go at these first with a wire brush, get everything cleaned off best you can, and then kind of start fitting and see where stuff fits and where it doesn't, because it's gonna have some spots where it's just not gonna fit as well as it should. So start there, scrub on those for a couple minutes, and then we're gonna come back at it with like chisels, whatever you gotta do to get the new ones to fit. You can do it. Plus you want to get these cleaned up anyways, but it's never as easy as it seems. Always all just, you know, really cheap, the cheapest of the cheap stamped metal, and these all actually are the same. That varies on vehicle to vehicle, but these happen to be all the same for this car. They should fit, you know, something like that. These actually don't fit too bad, but you can still feel a bunch of crud. I mean, they should all fit very flush and snugly without, you know, having to hammer it on. So go back around until everything's sitting on it real nice and pretty. So remember to put your brake pads on the way that they came off. So you're going to want to match these out of the box. Only do one side at a time. Keep track of what comes off the front and what comes off the back. So we have a little hint on this one, obviously, because we saw that front pad fall apart, so we can kind of remember that nice and easy. But the back one had this extra little tab on it, just like this one does. So it's going to pop right in, just like so. The front one will go. So before you slam this all together, you know everything fits nicely. You're going to want to go back through and really grease these slides. Like I said, that is the spot where these things fail. It all falls apart. The 10-cent little pressed metal thing. So I'm just using some blue grease. It's a high temp. You can use the red stuff too, also high temp. They give you like a condiments, you know, ketchup condiment amount of this stuff to go with it, but you really want to slather it in there. And make sure not to get it on your actual rotor when you're doing this, because you don't want anything slippery on your rotor, because that'll be a bad time too. Take your time, no rush. It's not like you have to be to work in the morning, right? Here we go. Remember, so think about the curvature of everything too. This obviously goes to the inside just because of how that's curved. That's the same with every type of car, so don't let anybody fool you with that one. Just tap to fit. Nothing wild. And then one more essential thing you need to do is either get a C-clip, you know, something like this. They make the big pressed ones too that look like a pair of vice grips. Whatever you got, you need to squeeze this whole caliper system back up into here, and you're gonna want to go ahead and open your hood, open up your brake reservoir, because it's gonna push fluid out of that caliper and back up into the system. Anyway, so you can stick that right back in there. Just going nice and easy until this thing is all the way bottomed out. See that? No more gap in there. You can't see the caliper at all. the actual piston in the caliper, I should say. Slap it back on. And hopefully everything don't be afraid to improvise. See that squeezing in now. Whew. Gonna kind of tap that right back into place, whichever which way it goes. Do these one at a time. It might take you a while to line up that hole right where it's supposed to be. You might have to go back and forth, up, down, left, right, side to side. Cheat code it up, but eventually it'll find its way. And sometimes this thing will have you questioning if you really need 2 bolts on it at all. Like, can't I just get it by with 1? No, unfortunately. So I finally got that one to thread back in. Took forever, had to get the right angle, all that and more, but it eventually went. And here I am tightening down the final bolt for this side. So there you have it. That's 1/2 of a brake job. If you couldn't follow me on that or can't reverse the process on the other side, probably shouldn't be attempting it yourself, but who am I to judge? But you know, I'm just here to give you some amusement and show you what I've done. There's one side, I got to do the other, but good luck, guys, with your shit boxes and your cheap cars, because that's what I like to play with. So we'll see you later.